You're watching the New York Giants Fan Show on Fan Media Network. I'm your host, Zachary Wilson. Today, we are going to recap the Giants' preseason loss at Cleveland that will include some positives from that matchup and what we can expect from the big news surrounding the preseason finale against New England this upcoming weekend. Joining us once again is local Giants fan Sean Soricelli. Sean, thank you for once again joining me, and let's start off with what happened this weekend. So the Giants lost 17-13 against Cleveland, but we did appear to see that there was some improvements as compared to their first preseason game against the Jets. Would you agree with that?
First off, I'm glad to be here. I loved doing it last time, so it was great to be back. But so Giants, they did pretty good against the Browns. Probably could have been a little bit better, but you're not always gonna be perfect, especially in the preseason with just backups and everything else. Like I said, I don't expect much during the preseason. I don't expect Giants to win any games or lose any games. To me, preseason doesn't matter because it's mainly just people fighting for a roster spot. So I'm not too worried if we win or lose them. But what I'm more focused on is this Patriots game coming up, because this is the first time we're going to be seeing Daniel Jones as a quarterback playing. So I'm kind of weary about how he's going to do with it being his first, snaps in a Giants uniform since, since last week 17 of the regular season.
Yeah, I know there's been a lot of questions for a lot of people surrounding why Daniel Jones hasn't really started the first two games of the preseason, but I guess you can see that there are other players too who are also in that same position. Ryan Tannehill, Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, those are starting quarterbacks who haven't started the preseason yet, but you can pretty much see what that's all about. I mean, I'm still not certain either.
Which I can agree with. I know a lot of starters haven't started yet. Like I know some teams have started their, starting quarterbacks. Some haven't. Really, it's all like coach's discretion. I can see why Joe Judge hasn't started Daniel Jones, and I don't blame him. As you see, like just Travis Anthony or T, how you say his last name, just got injured with a season-ending injury and possibly even a career-ending injury with his sprain. So I can see why. It's mainly trying to keep our starters healthy, especially after last season where, we lost our biggest star. Like, we were going to start improving. We were beating Chicago, and then once Saquon went down, it was just downhill for pretty much the rest of the season. Giants, won games thanks to Joe Judge, but at some point you got to realize it's not worth putting our current star quarterback at risk. We've seen who's behind him. We have no good backups behind Daniel Jones. I hate to admit it, but we don't. So I'd rather see Daniel Jones wait till the last preseason game to play one half before, the regular season instead of trying to play one or two preseason games and then get injured during one of those games.
Well, that does make sense, but if anything, I do actually thought that on Sunday against Cleveland, we saw that Mike Glennon and Brian Lewerke did look like they had some good looks as far as being able to play quarterback, and Lewerke coming in after the Giants waived Clayton Thornton after an injury that he apparently suffered in the loss to the Jets. Lewerke wasn't too bad. I mean, there were some drops and some incomplete passes that didn't really look like it was something that would have made him look promising, but as far as being a backup to Daniel Jones, that does give him that type of caliber. Him and Glennon, it's going to be a big question of what it'll be like, so can't be too surprised, because if anything, the Giants may have made in my opinion, the Giants may have made the right move in dropping Thornton, because he was just nowhere for the Giants.
I didn't like Thornton. I did not like Thornton. I saw what he was doing. He had one good pass, and that was that touchdown pass. Other than that, he was just poor decision making left and right. I really hope they start Brian as a second string quarterback to help Daniel Jones in case something happens, because he seemed like he has potential to be a really good quarterback, to be at least, until Jones gets back, if he does get injured. Let's hope not, though.
Well, Glenn will also be in that position for a backup quarterback role as well, and he did seem to make an improvement from that Week 1 loss against the Jets. He was able to lead in that second drive of the game for the Giants back on Sunday. He was able to eventually cap it off with that touchdown run for Devontae Booker, who I'm sure is also probably going to be backing up the backup for Saquon Barkley. And after what I saw from Booker, I think he could be also somebody that could be used almost as often as Barkley in that backfield.
I mean, we're probably going to see Barkley and Devontae Booker take snaps because let's be real here. Saquon's coming off of an ACL tear. And JoJo just already said he's not sure if he'll play in the preseason game. I'm going to take that as Saquon will not play in the fourth preseason game. I'm pretty much going to guarantee he's not going to. I was talking to my ESPN radio show, and they actually had a guy on there named Dr. Roto, and he's actually friends with Saquon Barkley's family. And I was talking to him about it, and he's most likely not going to play in preseason. He will probably start in the regular season. He'll probably be healthy enough to play in the regular season, but I wouldn't expect much of a huge load on Saquon probably till later into week 10 or 11 is probably going to start seeing Saquon get the heavy loads that he's used to getting. But obviously, that could change with time depending on how he's feeling, but don't expect to see a lot of Saquon Barkley getting a lot of the carries for maybe the first half of the season. Expect probably Devontae Booker and Saquon to share that backfield until he's fully healed from that ACL.
Well, I can expect that. Who knows? So they'll probably put some pressure on the offensive line that's still trying to work out the kinks and how it's still trying to be an offense that it was a few years ago. It may not have been like a few years over the last few years, but eventually you'll see those weapons all coming back. We know Daniel Jones, as you said, Daniel Jones, we all know is projected to start this upcoming weekend in the preseason finale against the Patriots, along with every other starter. I don't know what the status is for the receivers such as Galladay or Tony, if they're still working out their injuries. So if anything, at the very most, we'll see Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton come in for that game along with Daniel Jones.
I mean, I can't wait to see Slayton and Shepard return. I like Slayton. I think Shepard needs to work on his concussions, but other than that, I think Shepard's going to be a newly renovated receiver coming out this season because he just seems to be doing great during the preseason, during training camp, from what I'm understanding from the sources that keep posted about the New York Giants training camp. But I'm willing to bet Kenny Galladay will be in Giants uniform September 12th for the first game of the season. And I expect Daniel Jones and Kenny Galladay to try to be connecting a lot during the first game of the season. But it's a wait and see. But I honestly think that majority of our starters will be back, and I just can't wait to see what's going to happen with that.
We need to get a full health. You get a completely healthy offense all tuned up before the first week of the regular season does begin. We still know that the game is against the Denver Broncos at MetLife Stadium on September 12th. There's going to be a lot to look forward to with that. But first, of course, is the preseason game this weekend. So we know what the Patriots are looking to try and do this preseason, but they just took a hit. Cam Newton may have had some sort of contact with somebody who had COVID, so that's going to be a lot more on Mac Jones to finish this off. And he's still in the hot seat for that starting quarterback job once the regular season begins. So how do you think the Giants will try to react to this former champion of Alabama?
I mean, I'm not completely too sure, but I wouldn't put anything past the Giants defense. I honestly think the Giants defense is going to be able to contain Mac Jones. Now, with Bill Belichick, he hasn't given much film on Mac Jones. If I'm going to be real here, we all know it. Mac Jones won't have any game film, so don't expect too much flash from Mac Jones, just due to the fact that they want to keep him, kind of hidden until the regular season. So I'm not expecting much out of out of Mac Jones because he'll probably be doing, a couple of short passing routes, maybe a couple deep passes, but nothing that will show, his potential as a starting quarterback to the, any other teams. They're going to wait till the regular season for something like that to happen. But if anything, Cam Newton, from what I'm understanding, I've been hearing on reports that he's expected to play against the Giants. This was it Saturday or Sunday if they're going against them?
I believe it's Sunday.
Sunday? Okay. There's expecting Cam Newton to play. From what I'm understanding, the report stated that he went out to a Patriots authorized doctor's appointment, and then went to, I guess, a non-Patriots authorized certified testing center for COVID, and that's the whole COVID situation. But I don't think Giants should really worry about Cam Newton as much because honestly, if I'm going to tell you, I think Mac Jones is taking that starting quarterback position. I get it. Cam Newton's a former MVP, and he's got starting quarterback. He can probably start as a quarterback again. But we saw it last season. He's not the same as he was with the Panthers. And I honestly think Mac Jones is going to take the starting spot. So what the Giants defense needs to do is just focus on Mac Jones, but focus on him, and then the offense needs to worry about that Patriots defense because we know they got Dante Hightower back and Matthew Judon now from the Ravens. So I really think the Giants need to focus on how to neutralize the Patriots defense from reaching Daniel Jones because that's going to be the big focal point in the first half is how that starting offensive line will do against probably one of the top 10 defenses in the league.
Yeah, we can't wait to see how the Giants will react to a Patriots team that is now out of their dynasty. Giants hosting the Patriots preseason finale on the 29th next Sunday. Game will be at 6 p.m. And then after that, the regular season will officially begin with every week, with the first weekend being practically a bye for everyone. So that'll do it for us here on the New York Giants Fan Media Network. Thank you to Sean Soricelli for once again joining me. Next week, we will recap the preseason for the Giants and preview their upcoming battle with the Denver Broncos to begin the regular season. Once again, Sean Soricelli joining me. Zach Wilson, thank you once again for listening in, watching in, everybody, and we hope you enjoy your day.
To host a fan show or appear as a fan on a fan show, create a profile in Fan Media Network. Then look for the news page in our website and fan show resources page. Help yourself. We give show hosts a show graphic and team colors, a simple short show format, tips on pre- and post-production, ideas to get fans and guests on your show, Apple News distribution and show sponsorship sales and services to help featured show hosts earn money. Show hosts use our iPhone app to publish their shows. Our website supports Android users.